Hey lovelies, welcome to another speed build. In this speed build I'm building a eco-living mansion on a 40 by 40 lot. So back then we had the opportunity to vote on a stuff pack and laundry day won, as we all know, but there was like a eco-living of the grid option where your Sims would have the opportunity to use solar panels, for example, so they could lead an eco-friendly life. So we didn't get that. We have laundry day, and I know a lot of people love that, but I have always loved the idea of kind of a proper eco-living theme, and I felt inspired to build a house that has this kind of typical look. I combined lots of green elements with a very modern kind of style. So this mansion is definitely modern, but I tried to kind of include a lot of natural elements. So I used a lot of green, as I said. I used some of the planter pots so your Sims could do some gardening. I also included a gym because I felt like Sims that would like to lead a eco-friendly kind of responsible lifestyle would probably also be the kind of people who kind of make sure that they eat the right stuff and that they work out. Of course not, like, this is kind of a cliche, but I just kind of felt that it fits to it when I tried to develop some type of backstory in my head, I guess you could say. And I think it turned out quite cute. I decided to use some terrain. I used the terrain tools to create some type of curved path that leads up to the house. And then I used these cute little cubes that are part of Get Famous. And I just arranged them in the exact shape the path already has. But I decided to have some kind of cascading look to it. So I placed the bigger ones at the beginning of the path, and then they just got smaller and smaller. As you are going to see, I used a lot of plants in this build, also in the interior, so it kind of really looks like some type of eco-living build. I also decided to build a room on the inside that is basically just like some type of aquarium almost, that has some plants in it, and then I used the dance floor that is part of Get Together on the floor above, so it has some type of glass roof so your Sims can look down and see it. So there's kind of a lot of nature and plants going on the inside. I felt like bringing the outside to the inside basically. And here I decided to use some rocks. At first I wanted to use some plants, the pink one, the romantic garden stuff ones that you just saw. But I felt like rocks would look so much cooler, and they come in different colors, as you know, and I decided to use the very gray ones. They don't have a brown tint to them, just like the default color has, and I felt like that this very cool color just kind of goes well together with all the white and stuff. So it's a very bright and white build. I just used some brown to have some type of accent colors, so it kind of balances all the white and the green out, but all in all, it's a very bright and friendly build. And here I again use the cube. I used a lot of them in this build, and I just decided to have some type, I guess you could almost say, arch around the front section. This is kind of where I tried to work the shape of the house out. So I just started with this. At this point, I had basically no idea what the house would actually look like. I just knew that I would like to build a eco-living house, that it's supposed to look modern, and then I just kind of tried to combine different rooms and different shapes. This is also where I'm going to change a lot of stuff, especially the roof, because at this point the roof on the left side looks very basic. I think that the round roof that you already saw in the beginning really is the eye catcher of this build, and here I'm trying to find the right type of windows. I really wanted this section to look like one huge window almost, so these windows definitely weren't the right choice at this point because they are too small. And then I used these, I think these are base game windows, and this little decoration on the wall is part of Get Famous. There's lots of cool modern stuff in this pack, perfect to build a modern but also a very old-fashioned build. I also used a lot of columns, and at this point I kind of tried to work out what I would like to do. Again, I used these cubes. As I said, I used lots of them, so I really wanted wanted to have this combination of a lot of bright white and the green, and I think that the green color is just perfect. When you look at the wall decoration on the right side, it has the same green color as the wallpaper that I used for the green section. It was really important to me to kind of find the right type of green, because if it's a green that is more on the blue side, it doesn't look as modern for some reason. I don't know, I was really going for this type of green. I think in combination with other white and brown, it really has this type of look to it that I was going for. And here on the right side, this is just some type of patio area with a fancy roof on top. I used fences, as you can see here, and then I added another roof on top and just tried to make it look beautiful. And I added some windows at the bottom just to add some more detail. I always love to add a lot of detail depending on the building style. It just depends what you kind of throw at it. And here I just decided to use some modern windows. These windows that I used next to the fence and also in the build are again part of Get Famous. Wonderful pack for these type of builds, as I said. And this green floor that is supposed to be grass is just perfect for this build. It almost looks artificial. It's probably even supposed to be artificial, right? Like some type of astroturf. And it just fits so well because there's so many bright colors. It just looks so happy. And I decided to use these plants here because I felt like they have this very rectangular planting pot. I did not want this to look too natural, tropical. I really wanted to use objects that have really sharp, clear lines and look very modern. And now I'm extending the bottom section. So the main part of the house is sitting on a little hill, and then there's a section at the bottom, and this bottom section is going to be a indoor greenhouse, and on the right side it's going to be the gym, but you're going to see later what I mean. And here I'm trying to work out the roof and all that. This was kind of tricky, just kind of to make it work, and I really wanted this to look nice. And at this point I kind of really fell in love with the build, and I knew that I would continue to work on this. And for the roofing part, I used the little stone slab that is part of Spa Day. When you go to the fountain section next to the pool section, you can find some objects for fountains, and there you can find the little stone slab. And I used this on top of the roof. I'm going to change the color later though, because I felt like it's so bright white that it kind of almost makes the little cubes disappear. Like you can't really see where the cubes end and where the roof section starts, kind of. I mean, I really wanted to have a nice contrast, so the lines on the outside are very crisp and you could really see the round shape. So I decided to turn the white color to brown, as you can see here. I really love this brown. It's kind of different from the brown that I used for the wood floor, but it kind of goes well together. And here I'm changing up the shape so it all looks nice and neat. When you want to do something like this, just activate the move object sheet, and then you can do all kinds of different things, and you can also size up stuff and size it down. And when you are holding down Alt and when you move your mouse, you can place objects freely, and when you click the mouse button, hold Alt and then move the mouse, you can rotate objects. And this way you can kind of create a curve like this, and you can create all kinds of custom shapes. I think that this is always a lot of fun, and believe me, it definitely gets easier if you should try this for the first time. It's kind of almost some type of muscle memory situation. After a while it gets easier, and you're using all your shortcuts, and it definitely gets easier. Practice makes perfect. I'm just saying this because sometimes people ask how to do this and that, so I thought that I would quickly mention this. And I then decided to include some trees into this build. I'm actually going to place some trees on one of the balconies in the back later, because as I said, I really wanted to include nature into this build, but at this point there wasn't a balcony that was really suitable for this. And here I'm just working on some details in the front section, adding some lights and just different things, because it's all in the details in my opinion. So I really worked on this and changed some colors. And here I'm working on the bottom section. This is going to be the little greenhouse. I really wanted to include some gardening aspects into this build, because we don't really have a proper eco-living theme in this game, so I really kind of tried to fake it as much as possible, you could almost say. And by the way, I think I didn't mention this, the section that I just change in the front the colors. These are little wood blocks that are part of cool kitchen stuff, and usually it's just one little wood piece that you place at the wall, but when you size it up you can just use it to create some cool walls and have some fun with it. You can always find another purpose for a object, and this is also why I say, at least in my opinion, for me personally, there's not really a pack that I completely loathe or anything, because you can always find some fun objects for building. Like, I'm not the biggest fan of the My First Pet Stuff pack. It's really controversial and all that, and I was definitely a little sad that people voted for Laundry Day back then, but I'm really happy that those who voted for it got what they wanted, and I think there are still so many amazing objects in this. You can always find some nice objects that you can build with and have some fun. You guys know that I sometimes like to throw in a little life update, and in this case I want to talk about something that's really important in my opinion, something that can save lives. I want to talk about smear tests. I had my annual cervical screening yesterday, so something that is kind of on my mind, and I kind of thought that I would share what all of this is about in case you have no idea, in case you're worried. So what is a smear test? They just take a little brush, insert it inside your cervix so they can collect a little bit of tissue, and that's it. Only a couple of seconds. Most of the time it's painless. Some women experience a little bit of pain, and some people think that it's really bad, but this depends. And for most women it's completely painless, or they might only feel some type of light scratch. So for most women it's a very easy and quick thing, and they can prevent cancer, because this way they can really see if some of your cells show some signs of cancer, and this could literally save your life, and it's very important. And I want to talk about this because a lot of women are so scared of this. Many women don't go, and I really want to tell you that it's most of the time not bad at all. Find a doctor that you really trust and try to relax, and it's literally over within a few seconds, and that's it. I mean, it's not like parts of you are cut open or anything. It's really just a cute little brush, and that's it. You can even Google it if you want to see a picture of it, and I think that when you just realize that it's only a little brush and that's it, and that they just scrape over the tissue to collect some of it, it's like already so much easier to not be afraid of it, I guess. I really don't want to downplay that some women experience pain. For some women it is really bad, but as I said, for most it isn't. So if you haven't gone yet, or if you are afraid, just go and find a doctor you trust. It's really important, because even if you have some pain for a couple of seconds, it's definitely better than having cancer. So I really just want to talk about this and let you know that there's no reason to be worried, and just go for it, and it's not a bad thing at all for most women. And also, even if you are not female, we all have mothers and sisters and aunts and all that, so it's always an important topic in my opinion. So I just quickly wanted to address this, and now back to the build. Here I'm working on the back section. I really wanted to include a garden to this build, because as I now said multiple times, this is a eco-living build. I really wanted to include gardening, and I just felt like, of course, there has to be some space where your Sims just can hang out and spend some time on the outside, the actual outside, not like the outside that I kind of emulated on the inside. So I really wanted to have a lovely garden. I included a pool and a hot tub, because I felt like this is still a mansion. We just need some type of luxurious garden for this. I'm going to go back to the garden later. I'm going to change a couple of things. At this point I decided to include a fence, because there is a lot of brown in this build when you look at the wood floor, and I felt like that it wasn't balanced at all. There was so much brown, and then when you looked at the very front section of the house, there was no brown at all, and for some reason it just didn't look balanced for me. So I really wanted to include some brown in the front, and I felt like this fence would just be perfect for this. It has the right color, it looks modern, so I used this one. And here I'm starting to work on the thing that I called aquarium at the beginning. It's just some little indoor garden, and at first I was confused about the size and about the dance floor that I sized down, and then I'm going to size it up later. I was just a bit confused, but it sits right above it, so there's some light coming through. And then I added some plants. I'm going to change up these plants later though, because I didn't like them. I'm going to use some bamboo, but you are going to see what I'm talking about in a couple of seconds. And there on the left side, this is the living room. I used this green color on the build a lot. I used it just for some wards because I didn't want to use it on all of the wards. This would just be overkill probably, so I combined the green with this beautiful light beige. And I really tried to make the interior modern yet inviting, and there are lots of green accent. This is a beautiful base game sofa, and I felt like it's perfect because it's mostly white. I used a lot of white on the interior, but there are these beautiful green cushions, just perfect. And then I added some shelves and just some bits and bobs of decoration, and I think it's really cute. And I really like that the living room space is right next to the little aquarium area, so again it feels like your Sims are on the outside, and it really kind of makes it a beautiful eco-living build. And here I'm adding the bamboo that I mentioned earlier, and just some bits of clutter here and there. And then I decided to use the smaller sofa. And here is just a section where I added more plants, just more decoration. I really tried to add as much plants as possible without using too many. And these beautiful candles are part of Spa Day, I think, if I'm not mistaken. And I think that these are just beautiful because it just looks so natural and perfect. These are usually supposed to be placed in a pool or fountain or something, but you can also use them for stuff like this basically. As you will see in a few seconds, I decided to use some green window blinds. I used them for multiple rooms, and for some rooms I decided to use the window blinds that are part of my first stuff pack. I know, I'm sorry, but I just had to use them because I feel like they look so modern, and they are one of the coolest curtains, window blinds that we have in this game when it comes to a modern build. And this is the kitchen. I used base game counters in white because I felt like it just looks modern and cool, and then I decided to combine some dark wood with it. At this point the floor isn't dark yet, but I'm going to change this because when you look at the windows, they have a very dark brown frame, and I kind of felt like it was all kind of too light, and I wanted to have a cool contrast with all the white, and I felt like a dark brown would be perfect for this. The chairs are part of Get Famous, the bar stools, the chairs I'm not even too sure at the moment. I think Cool Kitchen stuff, and I just tried to make it look like a very beautiful eco-living kitchen. A lot of green, lots of plants. I placed some shelves in between the windows so I could add some plants. Again, I decided to use mostly plants that have a wide, quite rectangular planting pot, so it really looks modern. And then I just added more and more details. I think the kitchen turned out quite cool. Again, I decided against a open floor plan. It just kind of happened. I mostly just start building, and then I tried to come up with a floor plan that makes sense more or less. I think it turned out quite cool in this case, and here I changed the blinds once again because I wasn't sure. I really changed a couple of things until I was really happy. So here I just added a mirror behind the stove because I felt like it looks modern and beautiful. And at this point it kind of all comes together. At first I wasn't too happy with the kitchen, but here it really looks modern yet warm and inviting, which I was going for, as I said. And this is just a little hallway basically. There are some stairs that lead down to the gym that I'm going to build later, and I just added lots of mirrors and columns and just some stuff to make it look cool, and just so I would add some clutter. And this is a very modern and fun room in my opinion. I also want to give a very quick update on the Article 13 situation because I follow the whole topic very closely, and in my last video I talked about this, and some people seem to be interested. So the EU Council vote was supposed to take place on April 9, but now it was postponed to April 15. So until April 15 we won't know what's going to happen. There is still a slim chance that everything is going to be alright and that it won't pass, because the EU Council, the EU member states are going to vote. Sweden said that they are going to vote against it, definitely. Poland said that they are going to vote against it, but this is still not enough for this to not pass. We need some more countries to vote against it, but we are going to see what is going to happen. Also, Twitch has already said that if Article 13 indeed passes, and if everything is going to play out the way that it looks at the moment, Twitch is definitely going to block the EU, because as a live streaming platform, they won't be able to filter out what people are going to show on live streams. They also won't be able to prevent people from seeing copyrighted material that they are not supposed to see, because this is kind of the other side of this whole copyright directive. So Twitch is going to leave the EU definitely if everything is going to happen the way it looks now, but maybe it's not going to pass, and maybe they're going to make some changes to it. Let's just hope for this, fingers crossed. Just wanted to give you guys a quick update. And this is the bathroom. I decided to use some wood on the walls to make it again very warm and inviting. I think it always makes a lot of sense to use wood in a build like this, because as I said, I was going for this combination of a very natural build, a lot of a kind of a nature theme, but also very modern, and wood obviously is a very natural thing to use. It's just beautiful in the combination. And I think I haven't even mentioned this before, but in this build we have 2 bathrooms and 3 bedrooms, 1 master bedroom and 2 kids rooms. The master bedroom is of course bigger than the kids room, so just 2 cute small kids rooms. And here I'm just adding more clutter all over the build, just so it has more decoration and just some pictures on the wall. I was just going through the rooms to see where it's kind of lacking something, because I felt like I was not happy with how it looked at this point. And these are the 2 kids rooms. Going to change up the left one in a couple of seconds to pink. These aren't too big. These are really airy, really open, really beautiful because of the 2 big windows. So again, it kind of connects the inside with the outside, and I just added a bit of clutter and some toys, just a typical kids room. One of the rooms is blue and the other one is pink, and I feel like it's a typical kids room. There's some stuff going on that kids would obviously use, but it's still very modern. I didn't want to kind of change the whole theme of the kids rooms, because the whole house is modern, and I didn't want to have some very rustic kind of traditional kids rooms. I really wanted to continue the theme for the kids rooms, which is why they are so open and a bit minimalistic. And this is the master bedroom. As you can see, the cubes that I used on the outside for the arch are visible on the inside, and at first I felt like kind of sectioning off this area to fix it, but then I realized that this is nothing that I would like to fix. Instead, I just wanted to include this into the build. I added these little tables that are part of Dine, and I kind of merged them with the arch and added some mirrors, so it's a very kind of unique decoration that is just above the bed, and I just included it, which makes the bedroom a bit more special in my opinion. I added a vanity to the corner of the room. I think this is always very suitable for a luxurious bedroom. And this is a cute little office. I did not add a computer to this because I felt like this is just an office where your Sims could even sit down and do some homework maybe, but of course you could always add a computer. And here I'm adding the planting pots and a barbecue grill, just so your Sims can do some gardening. Also on the inside, since seasons you can't grow the plants all year round, so it's always good to have some inside space, some cute little greenhouse for your plants, so your Sims can grow some plants and do some gardening all year around. I personally love gardening in The Sims. and this is the gym. I tried to kind of section off this very big space. I used some windows for that, and then I added some bamboo and also just some windows on the glass wall. These are windows, but it's like basically just a glass wall, I guess you could say. I really tried to make this look fancy and modern. I used the exact same wallpaper that I used on the exterior for all the green walls. I felt like that this makes sense. I just used another wall color where I placed the mirrors. I added a little bar, and then I just used these little seeds that I just scattered all around the rock basically, and I think it looks very cute and unique. And this is almost it, guys. I would like to say thank you so much for watching. I included some screenshots, also some screenshots from above, so you can really see what's going on and you can kind of see what the floor plan looks like. And I really hope that you enjoyed this video. If so, please like and subscribe. I hope that you guys have a fantastic week, and I hope I see you in the next video. Bye bye.